Where on earth? And today's walk includes a walk close to the seafront and also up a hill. I'm not too sure how high it is, but we'll see when we get there. Anyway, I'm wearing the jacket. I might be getting a little overheated as midday and early afternoon approach, but we'll see how it's going later on in the morning. It's still reasonably early, probably about 9:30 now, I guess. But summer has decided to come back for one day at least. The sky overhead, as you can see, perfectly blue. And although the trees in some parts are turning autumnal colours, because they've been tricked into thinking autumn's come early, it does seem like a very nice day. Right at the bottom of this is a map showing with the blue here Pax Margherita, so approximately where I started this morning from the hostel. Just to give you an idea, I've walked around onto Atri Street and I am here. It looks like a street with no name, but I think it's because this impression is maybe a little bit on the basic side. It is a real road I'm walking on here, not just a derelict track. So you don't have to worry about getting lost if you decide to come along here yourself. And this will bring us up to something you might remember from the video where I walked to Cadriorg Park. I walked through the gardens and came out right next to the road, which I crossed, and we took a brief view of the beach and also the Rusalka sculpture monument for the shipwreck. We'll be reaching there soon, but walking straight past, continuing on just for 100 metres, crossing the road, and then I'll be going up a hill. As I said earlier, I'm not too sure how steep the hill is, so it could be interesting. I might have to take the jacket off as things are warming up, but that all remains to be seen. One of the downsides of being a bit of an early bird is that if you do feel like an ice cream, quite often you find the ice cream sellers having a bit of a lie-in. Ah well, maybe on the way back. There she is. Good morning, Rusalka. I've been walking along Pirita T, a little road parallel to the busy road which runs parallel to Pirita Beach. And just in case people who like to have their holidays in tents or camper vans are thinking there's absolutely nothing in these videos for me, I don't know why I bother. Thought I'd just point out that I've seen this sign indicating where Tallinn City Camping is located. So it's just 200 metres up there. And on a day like this, you're a 300-metre walk from the beach. Not a bad location, eh? I'm still walking on, not doing the sensible thing and stopping to ask anyone I see walking in the opposite direction whether I am in fact walking towards my destination for today, which I think is eventually going to become a little more apparent. I've seen no signage for it at all. It's a place called, well, it's had several names through history. It's currently called Maarjamae Loss, which I think translates to Maria Hill or Maria's Hill Castle. It ought to stick out in the landscape, but I'm thinking it's up at the top of quite a steep hill and probably hidden behind trees. And of course I could have taken the wrong road and could be heading into wilderness. However, I think what I'll do is go where that cyclist is going. Not because I'm thinking seeing that cyclist is a sign, although it might be. I had already intended to go up here because the rest of this road seems flat, and I've been looking for a road which does go up because it just seems logical that Maarjamae Loss would be on the top of a hill. With that in mind, let's see if my plan works out. Well, it's not much of a hill, that's what I will say first of all. It is a gentle rise for just a few metres, and you come up onto this platform area which is just one huge car park, I'm guessing, or maybe it used to be a go-karting track. I'm not sure what this place is. There's zero signage, but over the other side of this fence I can see the place that I'm heading to, and so I'm going to be tempted by the hole in the fence to break the law, I imagine, very soon, because I think up ahead is the one and only Maarjamae Loss. How much trouble could I get into going through this fence? Because I'm not jumping the fence. I think this is a well-established walkway. Ooh, there's a flutterby. So I'm going to walk in this way, even though it looks as though the official road was the one which I came off. I thought it was a flat road not going up a hill at all, but then, as we've just discovered, the hill isn't much of a hill. It falls into the molehill category, I think. So, I should pretend that, oh my god, there's a viper, or there's the rarely spotted Estonian eek, which lurks in wooded area and, I don't know, drops from trees and strangles its victims, its prey. But yeah, no, it's just a calm, casual little walk. I don't think I'm going to get into trouble. It's giving me a different aspect on the building, which I perhaps might otherwise not be able to see. Or it's just a little shortcut which all the locals take. I don't think it costs anything to walk around the courtyard of this building anyway, and as it is, it looks as though I'm completely on the periphery of it and not in the castle grounds. Therefore, just minding my step a little bit, yeah, I've come out onto the road I should have walked up, and will probably walk down when I leave. I thought I'd walked straight into the grounds, but that's not the case. No matter, we're here. And there's a grand entrance with two eagles, one on each column, either side of the gate. And we've got the Maarjamae Palace, Film Museum and stables. Here are the opening hours. Palace Park is open longest of all. A useful map to get our bearings when we enter the site. And all the film museums over there. A rather tired lion. Aslan is sleeping. Or is he? No, his eyes are wide open, so he's actually wide awake and alert. So I made it. I made it to Maarjamae Palace. I was calling it a castle. They're calling it a palace, I think. Either way, it looks very much like a fortified manor house, doesn't it? Or I should say, a mock fortified manor house. Because the building itself isn't as old as one might first imagine. I gather what we're seeing today is little more than 150 years old. Obviously parts of it will be older, but in its present day configuration, there's an image of those singing grounds that I mentioned before. Yes, in its present day configuration, this palace is the vision of a 19th century architect who, I'm guessing, decided it would be nice to stake a claim by putting up that mock medieval tower on the side of the building, just to make it look a little bit more in keeping with how a fortified manor house in Europe would look elsewhere. And here's a surprise I didn't mention. Not what you expect to see at the back of a palace, perhaps. But somebody decided to collect up a load of old statues, predominantly from the Soviet era, and place them as a tourist attraction for us here to see. Now, I don't know whether this is a metaphor and somebody's put a large skip here because they're trying to say there is an opinion that these old statues should be condemned to this skip. Maybe that's my imagination again, running away with me. But as a tourist, I'm very glad to be able to come around and look at such monuments without making any judgments. A 1948 memorial monument to the Brothers Cemetery of Fighters who died for Soviet power and to Soviet soldiers who fell in the Great Patriotic War. Which of course is what the Western world refers to as a part of the Second World War. Which kicked off a couple of years after the Second World War, once the pact between Hitler and Stalin broke down, when Hitler decided it was a great idea to invade Belarus and Russia. I think I've just seen Leon Trotsky, but I could be wrong. Lots of Lenins. Oh, he's not Leon Trotsky, he's somebody else, who I think might be Mikhail Kalinin. A figure from history I've not heard of. But to all the world, I could have sworn that was Leon Trotsky. Staring into the sun. Not recommended, I don't think. I'm going to find out a little bit more about this man called Mikhail Kalinin, who I mistook for Trotsky. Competition for the monument of the formal head of the state of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Kalinin, 1875 to 1946, was announced in January 1947. Okay. So if you know your Soviet history, he will be a very well-known name to you. Lembit Pen. This sounds very much like an Estonian man, doesn't it? With that name. Who was Lembit Pen? Lieutenant General Lembit Pen. There's a bit of his history. And this one, like all the other monuments, has been more discreetly tucked away at the back of this palace. For those of us who are interested enough to come and seek it out, or for many, I'm sure, who just come across this little park by complete chance. And what else is in view? Aha! The Film Museum. if you're a fan of Estonian movies, or if you're curious about Estonian movies because you've never seen one before, this might be an opportunity for you to come and get a first glimpse of the history of the film industry here in Estonia.